everyone, welcome to Dice on Nice. My name is Em, and today is Tuesday. And that means another episode of Curse of Strahd, episode 24, The Tapestry of Horrors. When we left off, the players have found themselves in a bit of a pickle. They were going to the Church of St. Andrew's to try and get rid of their the doppelganger, Fel, who is wreaking havoc on the city, or the town of Valaki, especially St. Andrew's Church. They had locked themselves in, nobody was getting in or out. So the only way to get in was through a small crawl space that put them right underneath a shrine that held a tapestry that the monks were tasked with keeping safe and away from everyone else. This tapestry Eli had seen already had such evil and allure to it that it was difficult to get away from it. And they found that when they entered the shrine. Both Jean and Eli were sucked into the tapestry. They fell in, and thanks to the quick thinking of Fel, who is able to cast darkness around herself and Corla, they were able to escape into another room of the church and away from this pull of the tapestry. And so we will begin. Fel and Corla. Fel, you had centered the darkness around the tapestry, is that correct?
Of the sanctuary area into the main chamber of the church, leaving the darkness and the tapestry behind.
And so as you come into this next room, and you look beyond, you do not even recognize the former chambers of the former main sanctuary of this chapel. You see large, grotesque tendrils that you had seen in the other room that was emanating from the tapestry reach out into this room. They frame the walls, the ceiling. They snake down over top of you. They run along the floor in every direction. You see directly in front of you a person, though perhaps not anymore. They are cocooned, it seems like, within these black tendrils. And they are seemingly being swallowed up by what these tendrils are doing, and yet they are still chanting the prayers that you had heard them so many times as you entered and left the chapel. But it seems as though, even though at one time there were many, now there is just one. Brother Vitruvius, you are being swallowed up. You are the last monk to not have been totally engulfed by these tendrils. You are the last to be chanting a prayer that you have been taught for many, many years. And as you begin, your mouth begins to be covered over, and the tendrils seem to be trying to get you to stop chanting. What are your thoughts?
As these tentacles begin wending their way up, I imagine around my calves as I'm kneeling down, writhing around up my legs, my upper body, and arms, chests, working their way further and further up. Every muscle is becoming completely taut as I am resisting with every ounce of physical strength that I have left. Brother Vitruvius is an older monk, balding head and graying hair, but even now the graying hair or graying beard is becoming entwined with these tentacles. And there is no, at this moment, there is no independent thought. It's trained diligence in keeping the chant going, physical endurance to resist as long as possible, believing that if I continue for as long as possible, I can hold this back.
You see this in front of you, and you as well see that there are other figures standing still in front of this door to the shrine. However, their capsules have been closed, and you hear no sound coming from them. There are about 3 others. Fel and Corla, what would you do?
I think Fel at first, after closing the door kind of behind her and Corla, has this moment as she's sort of furiously wiping tears from her face, thinking back to the potential loss of Eli and John. She has this moment where she remembers playing a game of chess with her father back in Daggerford, and he was chastising her, as he often did, basically telling her to pay attention to the current move, not the move you're going to make later on. And for some reason, this random memory snaps her focus back into place. She takes a breath. She sees Brother Vitruvius slowly being consumed by these oily black tendrils, and she takes a moment, concentrates, kind of grips Corla's shoulder with her free hand, extends her right hand, and then this spectral teal-colored mage hand is going to drift out towards Brother Vitruvius and try to start pulling back some of these growths, trying to cover him. As Fel focuses, trying to just completely dedicate herself to this current moment, not thinking about what just happened.
So you're trying to pull these off is going to require strength, I think. Strength check.
Sure. I don't think Mage Hand has like any specific strength thing, so I will just use my own.
Mm-hmm.
I guess actually she'd probably say to you, Corla, if you can help. And she's going to roll. It's not terrible. That is an 11 on the die.
Okay. You are able to loosen, I suppose, the tight grip, though you see that it is where you loosen one, another tightens, trying to keep its hold on Brother Vitruvius.
Corla seeing this monk being consumed, and Fel right there trying basically unsuccessfully to do anything with those tendrils. Corla jumps towards this monk. She pulls out her dagger, the silver dagger, and begin to hack at some of these tendrils, or at least try to.
I'm gonna still have you make a attack. You're going to do damage no matter what, because you're in close proximity, and I would think it would be pretty easy. But this is going to determine how well you pick the tendril that is maybe more important.
Okay. That would be a dirty 20.
Excellent. And I would say that with you don't have to roll damage. I say that as you cut into it, you see that particular tendril writhes away in pain, retreats back from where it came. The darkness, the shadows that seem to just be everywhere and engulfing this entire area. And Brother Vitruvius, your midsection seems to be a little bit looser, allowing you to take more breaths and regain your composure a little bit.
We will get you free.
I think with the sudden freeing of the breathing, the chanting gets louder and more fervent. But also, I think seeing the others around him, around me, I will begin to, without breaking the chanting, I will begin trying to physically remove, like, not just hold my ground, but actually try to break free from these tentacles.
Sure, yeah. Make me a strength, I guess opposed strength.
Let's see, what is my strength? And it's going to be a 12.
Well, that beats out the 2 that I rolled, so you're able to begin to wriggle free. You see that this tendril that Corla had cut apart was really maybe the strongest, and you're able to just have a little bit more room, and you're able to begin to wriggle out and kick away these tendrils.
Imagine Fel would kind of direct her mage hand, seeing that the tendrils are starting to loosen their grip. She would direct the mage hand to start kind of like pulling off some of the smaller tendrils to aid Brother Vitruvius in escaping.
And I would say with that, Brother Vitruvius, you're able to free yourself, at least for the time being, from these tendrils. You see them retreat, though from your experience you know that they always come back.
For the first time since you've seen me, I stop the chanting, and it almost looks painful. More like an emotional pain to stop it. We must get out of here. There is no safety in this place anymore.
What has happened here?
First, safety. Then I will tell you.
We can't leave. We need to. Where are the rest of your brothers, the other monks that were chanting here before?
What are those? And she'll point to those, I guess, cocoons, those cases that you mentioned.
Brother Vitruvius, you would know that since these tendrils had erupted through the doors, they have taken these monks one by one, and so within these cocoons, you know you would find your brethren.
I fear it is too late for them. We can only save ourselves.
Do you know for sure they're dead?
I am certain we will be too if you continue to ask me questions about them. Let's go.
And Fel will sort of glance around for a few moments, seeming a bit indecisive, and then she'll look back to Brother Vitruvius. Do you all have an archive or a library or something like that?
Less talking, more walking.
We can walk to the library, damn it. Where is it?
I'm imagining that I begin moving through the area and I begin just with a purpose. I know my way around, and maybe occasionally open a door and immediately slam it shut, realizing that's not the way to go. And then I don't know if the library would be a safe place. I guess that's what I would look for, is where can I find that I would know would be a safe space, or is there a safe space here in the church?
You're not sure, I would say. Everything happened so fast, and you were on the duty of chanting during this time, so you don't know how widespread it is. Fel and Corla, you, upon further going further into the room, following around Brother Vitruvius, you see something attached to one of the walls. A huge cocoon, a chrysalid almost, glued to the wall with these large tendrils that seem to be jetting out of it. There's this cocoon is almost transparent, as it's not made with the other tendrils that have been engulfing the brothers, but this one seems to be more purposeful, more something made of something different. And Fel, probably to your horror, you see your own face, eyes closed, within this chrysalid.
Yeah, so she looks up at this awful, repugnant thing, and then she'll actually stop, trailing after Brother Vitruvius, and she'll look over to Corla if Corla's nearby, and she'll glance up again and then glance back to Corla. Can you see if you can cut that open with your dagger? I'll help.
Yes, we must. If this is what is causing this, or at least producing the power for it, we must end it. And,
right.
Corla would definitely go towards it with that silver dagger out.
And Fel will do the same with her own dagger, actually her own silver dagger.
You go to cut down this chrysalid, and you see this. You're immediately covered in this ooze that comes spilling out of this, opening it up. This liquid that reeks of rot comes pouring out along with Fel, seemingly what looks like. And though her face looks the same, you can see that there's something odd about her body. You see that the joints, the arms, the wrists appear almost like a doll, in that they are connected together, seemingly apart at one point. Also, wrapping around the skin are these smaller tendrils that seem to be stuck on and around her skin, that seem to pulse and glow.
Is this Fel dead?
You see that this Fel lays on the floor, like kind of slides out and collapses to the floor and doesn't move for a few beats. But then eventually you do see the body begin to twitch, to move, writhe like the tentacles, and slowly this Fel lifts her head.
You must kill yourself, Fel.
And Fel is just, I imagine she gagged for a moment as this tidal wave of nasty, rotten smelling slime came out of this chrysalis. But she has just watched this in horror, her eyes bulging. And then as this duplicate starts to rise, she will actually take the dagger and she's actually going to start cutting those small glowing tendrils that you mentioned, if she can, off the body. And she'll look to Coral and she'll say, "Do you have rope? We need to tie this thing up. This thing probably knows what's going on here much more than any of us, including maybe Brother Vitruvius. Maybe we can get some answers from it, and then we'll kill it."
You really think you will be able to stop yourself? Do you trust that if we don't just kill you now, that we'll have chance later?
And Fel will lock eyes with you, Corla, and just say, "This thing may be the only person that knows how to get Eli and Jean back. Let's at least talk to it, and then we can kill it if it doesn't know anything." And she's going to continue cutting the tendrils off the body.
The body is moving slowly for the moment. Brother Vitruvius, this is all kind of very new for you. You didn't see very much of what happened when these tendrils came out. You were very busy trying to chant and trying to keep whatever it was. You were trying to slow it down, whatever it was. And you did see that the chants did work for a while, but eventually they kind of stopped. And that was about the time when the tendrils overcame you and began to swallow you up.
I don't know what it is you think you are doing, but would you just as soon question the fire and ask it why it burns you? This thing, it wears your face, and it comes at the same time as these tendrils that destroyed my brothers and nearly myself. Do
exactly
what must be done and destroy it.
When I've talked to it first. And she's going to continue cutting, and then if Corla hasn't moved, she actually will pull out her own length of a hempen rope and start to tie the duplicate up.
As you begin to tie it up, you see the eyes begin to flash the same color as these tendrils that were pulsing through it. And it looks up at you and it screams this ungodly sound, high-pitched. You have to cover your ears, and you need to make me a Constitution saving throw, please.
Fel or everybody?
Just Fel.
That is a 25.
Okay, yeah, so it screams at you, and you can feel it trying to affect you, trying to get into your head, but you resist it. And I'm going to we're going to go into initiative order, I think, right now, because this thing is not going to go down easy. So, this thing screams, and Brother Vitruvius, you see this thing beginning to regain its strength very, very quickly as it starts to stand, despite Fel trying to keep it down.
Let me see what I would do here. Okay. I rolled a nat 20, or I did roll a nat 20, but what I was rolling for was to see was a generalized wisdom to see if I would do what I would do. And I think you would hear this sudden scrape of wood as the staff that I picked up, my quarterstaff, that's sort of like a walking stick. And as it sort of, I kick it out, I'm holding it like this, and I sort of kick it with one foot. There's a metallic pinging sound, And I'm just going to lunge forward with it. It's got a blade in the tip that springs out. It's basically a spear reflavored. And I'm just going to take a stab at this thing.
Perfect.
So, let's see if I can roll that nat 20 again. Roll the nat 10. Which is going to be a 16 to hit.
That hits.
So that'll be 9 points of piercing damage. And I'm going to sort of, as I'm holding like this, I just pull back and I strike at it again with my second attack. That's a 9.
That misses.
But I'm going to use my spend a key point for flurry of blows, and I'm going to. All right, it's been a while since I've done this. You can spend two unarmed strikes. Okay, I'm going to just, since I've got that staff there, I'm just going to sort of lean in and kind of hit it with an elbow and a fist. So the first is a dirty 20, and the second is a dirtier 20. It's actually a 22.
Perfect.
So
Yeah.
both hit.
Yep.
So that's going to be a total. My monk weapons are my unarmed attacks are D6. So that's going to be 6 and 4, 10 additional points of bludgeoning damage.
All right.
And because, sorry, monks are badass.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. There's a thing I can do. I'm just looking at it. Where to go? Oh, wait. No, sorry. The unarmed strike was a bonus action. Never mind. I'm done.
All right. Awesome. Oh, yes. Sorry. Okay. And then we have Corla up next.
Yeah, I think as soon as Corla sees maybe a grimace come over our fell's face, when the other fell kind of opened its mouth and had this scream, Corla didn't hesitate, and she is like Brother Vitruvius, lunging forward with her dagger and going to try to hit this thing.
And question, this dagger is silvered, correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, that's cocked. That's not good. Okay. 17?
That hits? Absolutely.
Yay! Okay, so that is 19 points of piercing damage with the silver dagger.
Awesome.
I think that is, all I can do at this point. I'm going to stay within range of that creature.
Okay, and
try to keep Corla's body like between the two fells.
You see that this thing screams out. You can see that this dagger is doing a little bit more damage, or having a little bit more of an effect on it as the blade slices a little bit more so. And you can see that this thing is getting quite angry. And we are going to go with Fell next. Oh, no, sorry.
I was going to say, this thing rolled lower than a 3?
Sorry.
I'm all for it, but...
Sorry. You see around you the groaning sound of voices. You see, Brother Vitruvius, that this thing that these things, these voices that you suddenly hear are almost sound like the chants that you learn, but something is wrong. They sound off. The wording isn't there. It just sounds like if somebody was making the words that they would think that someone who was speaking another language was saying. And you see arms and legs begin to punch through these tendrils, and you can see that some of the tendrils have dried in places so that they just look like husks. And they begin to crawl out, and you see to your horror that they are these grotesque versions of the brothers that you once knew. They pulse. They have these same small tendrils on their bodies that pulse with the same light that the evil fell has. And they're going to start walking towards you, and that is their action. And then we're at Fell.
So, question: does this, from what Fell can tell amidst all the chaos, does this doppelganger, does it seem intelligent, or does it just seem more like this feral animal that is just lashing out at everybody around? I mean, it hasn't really attacked us yet per se, apart from the weird transformed monk monsters.
So it hasn't said anything so far, but so you're not sure, but you can tell by looking at your own face, I suppose, that there is an intelligence behind it. It knows what's going on, but you can see there is a bit of ferality to it. It is not you anymore at all.
Good lord. Yeah, okay. So, hearing like the groanings or the sound of these transformed monks moving, I imagine kind of more towards our rear, Fell will sort of try to catch this doppelganger's attention, sort of moving around to the opposite side, away from Brother Vitruvius and Corla, without leaving its range, obviously. And she will just say, "Look, I know you're probably confused or whatever, but look, I'm not going to hurt you, but you need to stop whatever this is, all right?" And she is going to hold her action if this thing attacks basically any of her allies or her. She's going to cast a hold person on this thing, but she's basically trying to find some way to get through to this thing to see if it is actually open to some kind of dialogue, and that will be her turn.
You see that this thing looks at you, snapping its head around, and you hear this thing that is almost like a laugh. And it sounds like your laugh, but very twisted. There's a deeper voice behind it that seems to overlap and interplay with your own voice. Confused? No. I am not the one who is confused here. I sent a letter to the Baron. Did he get it?
The Baron is dead.
Shame. He won't get to see what happens next.
What is all this?
The Tapestry has spoken. It is awoken.
And what does that mean? You're right. Clearly, I'm the confused one here. You're not. But this doesn't have to end like, and she kind of glances back towards these awful monsters. This doesn't have to end like, clearly this is going to end, but we can talk about this, right?
You should have paid more attention in your studies.
What does that mean?
The thing just like kind of cocks its head around, almost like shaking it, jerking motions. And it is going to... Are you still like holding on to it?
Yeah, I imagine so. Sort of like loosely. I mean, I imagine between Corla and Brother Vitruvius striking it, she's probably had to move a little bit. But yeah, loose grip.
So this thing is going to immediately try and get away from you. So I don't know if you want to do an opposed strength. It's going to try and just like jerk away.
I will.
Yeah.
I will try. It will not go well for me. I can already tell.
Got
that's
15.
a 5.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So this thing immediately just jerks itself to the side and gets out of your grasp and away from the others, which will invoke an opportunity attack actually from all of you, if you would like.
Oh, I would like for sure. I rolled a 15.
I definitely will. And I have Sentinel.
Ooh.
Does a 15 hit?
Yes. Oh, sorry. 15? No, 15 does not hit.
Oh, I missed 2.
Yeah, Fel is actually not going to strike. I imagine she's kind of like trying to puzzle through, like, what my studies? What the fuck are you talking about? While also being distracted by monk monsters.
You are letting her go.
I'm just trying to figure out what's going on, Corla, so we can save Eli and John. Damn it!
This thing scuttles away into the shadows. Brother Vitruvius, we are back up at you.
Am I able to see where it went?
Yes, you can see where it went, but you can't see it. There's too many shadows within it, but you know where it theoretically is.
All right. I am going to, for my first attack, holding on to this quarterstaff that's got this blade on the end, I spin it around so the blade is standing up as I reach down to my belt and I pull this green and bronze flask off of my side, and I reach up and I sort of hook it on the end of this staff and just make a quick motion. I'm just reflavoring the throwing of the alchemist fire. I'm going to make a alchemist fire attack against
Perfect.
Which is, I believe, a ranged attack. Is it within 20 feet?
Yes. Yep.
Well, it doesn't matter. I'm attacking it or throwing it in the dark, so it'd be at disadvantage. Son of a... I rolled a nat 20 and a 4.
No.
So that's going to be a 10 with the first attack. Let me get rid of that. So when the alchemist fire explodes, does it light it up enough to be able to see it?
Yes, absolutely. And I would think that it would probably set alight some things around it so that the flame kind of stays.
Yeah, because it's basically an adhesive oil. Okay, so that was my first attack. Now that I can kind of see where it is, I am going to reach inside my sleeve and just throw something. As I grab one of my darts, and that just rolled all over my keyboard. Let's try that again. Oh my God. That is a critical failure.
No. Oh no. I'm gonna get you to roll me a d4, please.
4.
You actually stick it into another one of the weird things, these undead almost monks that are crawling out, and or actually in the process of coming out. And how much damage does it? And you can roll damage for it. I was rolling to see with that whether it would hit maybe a chrysalid with a monk still inside.
That's gonna do 5 points of piercing.
Okay.
And then I will spend. I'm going to spend a key point to take patient defense, which is I'm taking the dodge action as a bonus action, so all attacks against me will be at disadvantage.
Awesome. Very cool. All right. That brings us to... Oops. That'll bring us to Corla.
Corla will this other fell is, I can see her now.
Yes.
Correct, with the fire feet. Perfect. So Corla is going to basically make a beeline towards her and attack her again. Did Brother Vitruvius actually close? Like, are you engaged with her, like in combat with her, or you stood back, right, and fired? Okay, so I will then use a bonus action to make an insight check against this creature.
Okay.
So they do their deception. So it's my insight versus their deception.
Okay. What are you trying to discern, or?
So if I succeed on this, then I can use my sneak attack, even though normally it would not happen. Basically, I read their. It's called insightful fighting. So I got a 26.
They got a 6, so.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so if I hit, I can do sneak attack. And I am attacking it with my dagger. Meanwhile, Corla's looking back at Fel's like, and those monk creature thingies are attacking, like, are coming out as well, right?
Yes, they're closing in.
Yeah. If you will not help us with her, you can help us with them. As she goes to attack other Fel. Ooh, that is a 25 to hit.
That is a hit.
Okay. 15 points of piercing with a silver dagger.
Perfect. And is that your turn?
Yes, that is all I can do here.
The three of you suddenly hear the creaking of wood, the bending and rending almost of this wood, and as if you were to look, you would see that the front door is bending so much that within an instant it cracks open, letting in this odd Barovian light. Oh no, Robati.
It might be okay now. It was just for a little bit there. It was kind of hard to
Okay.
understand.
It was weak signal.
Oh, good. Okay. I'm like, I'm not even using my microphone. So you see that this door bursts open with wood flying everywhere, and some of this light begins to stream in, that odd Barovian light. And for Fel and Corla, you see a familiar face, a face that you never thought that you would ever see again, a face that you had buried long ago. As Everchild, you step into the threshold of this church.
Everchild stepping in. He's looking around. He's heard the commotion. He's smelled it on the air, and he spots the faces of Fel and Corla, desperately and in dire situation. And with his ghost whispering that he always does, I'm here. I'll protect you. He's both here in your minds. Do I get a full turn?
Yep, you get your action and movement
With
and all that.
With a glowing silver light held in his closed fist, and some silent prayers being uttered, he casts the spell Bless upon all three of you. I believe I can also see Vitruvius, right?
Yep.
Perfect. All three of you are now blessed. You get a D4 you can roll when you make attack rolls or saving throws. And that is my turn.
Right, these things, these undead monks come toward all of you, and they all kind of surround you, swarm you, and each of them are able to each of them are able to hit one of you.
I'm dodging.
Okay.
Let me know what the to hit is, Megan, because I may cast shield potentially.
Okay. The to hit was an 18.
Yeah, so Fel will cast shield. I imagine almost reflexively after seeing the Everchild, she hears this thing. She's like, "Oh shit!" And then she'll have that kind of dome of teal-colored fire surround her. Now her AC is 20.
Perfect. Corla, does that hit you?
Yes, 18 hits me.
And Everchild.
18 also hits Everchild, yeah.
And Brother Vitruvius, with the dodge, that. What does that
Basically,
do?
attack at disadvantage.
You attack at disadvantage.
Perfect. Okay. Right, that is a 5 on the die. So I think that's a 7. 8, sorry, to hit. So that.
Not even close.
Will not. So, Corla, you take 7 points of bludgeoning damage, and Everchild, you take 6 points of bludgeoning damage.
Orla actually has this uncanny ability to dodge when she gets hit, so she's going to have that damage.
Perfect. And then that'll bring us back to Fel.
So the door is now open. Where's the doppelganger?
Is on the other side of the door.
Crap on a sandwich. Yeah, right.
Or other side of the room, sorry. Not on the... Of course she's on the other side of the door. But, room.
Is she within 60 feet?
Of you? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Yep.
I need a wisdom saving throw, please.
Okay. Okay. That is an 18.
Oh, man. Yeah, so I imagine Fel kind of grips the wand as, she's sort of wincing from these blows against her dome of teal-colored fire. She tries to focus to get a hold person spell off to maybe contain the doppelganger, but unfortunately, she's just too distracted and too frantic, and the spell does not work, unfortunately. And that is it.
Right. We're back up to this thing, this Fel, who is going to you see suddenly that her hands have grown almost claws, and you see upon closer look that they're actually from these tendrils that have been going up and down her arm, have sharpened, become rigid and claw-like, and she's going to try and attack You. Corla. That is going to be a 16 to hit.
Yes, that hits.
I also need you to make me a strength saving throw, please.
And I get the D4 from the bless on this.
Yes.
So that will be 16.
Perfect. You can see these shadowy tendrils attempt to grab at you. They expand as she claws out at you, but you are able to dodge back from them, but unfortunately not from a few of them slicing into your skin. And you are going to take 16 points of necrotic damage. That is that thing's turn. Okay. Brother Vitruvius.
Is Corla the only one that ran up on this thing after it ran across the room?
Yes.
Is it up against a wall or near a wall?
Very close. It's almost cornered at this point.
All right, I'm going to go running straight at it. And I'm going to first attack. I'm going to attempt to stab it with my spear staff. That's a 13.
Unfortunately, that does not hit.
So as I continue with my action, not passing it, but kind of running up alongside, I'm going to run up, take a step up, sort of half step, half jump at the wall, push off of it, and try to double kick it with my flurry of blows, spending a key point. So I'm going to take 2 kicks,
Okay.
and I can keep adding bless, right? Bless is a continual thing, right?
Yep, I'm concentrating on it.
Really?
So-
Again? So this is another 13 as I fail to hit it. Hold on, I'm switching out this D20.
Yeah, you need to send that to Dice Jail.
All right. Got a 4 on the D4 and an 18 on the D20,
Perfect.
making it a 28 to hit.
Yes.
So that second kick is going to do 6 points of bludgeoning damage, and then I'm going to take my second attack action with my staff.
Okay.
That is a 18 total
Mm-hmm.
to hit. So that'll be another 7 points of piercing damage.
Yeah, this thing begins to scream and hiss and turn almost. It's very bestial. Fel, you can and Corla, I would say that you can tell that this thing is losing its humanity or the ability to speak or comprehend very, very rapidly. Okay, Corla.
I think hearing Everchild's voice for that moment there, right before these attacks, kind of threw her off a little bit and let herself open up, and she just kind of gets rocked by this fell in front of her, and that hit that was pretty nasty. And so in return, Corla, she sees red, and remembering her last conversation with Jean and knowing that she must channel her anger to be able to hit, she is using that, and she's going to attack this creature once more. And that will be 26 to hit.
Absolutely.
Okay. And with sneak attack. 17 points of piercing damage with that silvered dagger.
All right. And is that the end of your turn?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
All right. Everchild.
Child glances and sees these poor monks being thralled by this strange dark magic. He he holds, his fist aloft, and a silver light glows out farther and brighter as he tries to expel this undead taint from these monks' bodies to let them rest once and for all. As I use my channel divinity to turn undead. So all of these undead zombies need to make a wisdom saving throw.
All right. Okay, that one. All right, all but one failed.
All but one failed. So, if its CR is half or less, they are utterly destroyed. And if they aren't, and if they pass, nothing happens to them.
All right. I can. You can describe to me how you obliterate, four of these little monks.
I think that it's more that these tentacles that animate them kind of get burnt and sizzled alive, as if they're being held under a heat lamp and just cooked to a cinder. And as they do, these monks, no longer enslaved by this dark magic, will collapse peacefully, laid back to rest, as the tentacles shrivel away and retreat back into the walls around the Everchild. That is my action. And then as a bonus action, I will cast another spell. Well, I cast a spell, excuse me. Let's see. A spear of silver light appears as Everchild casts a spell, Spiritual Weapon, that hovers near the fake fowl and tries to skewer it with the silver light as I make an attack against it.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be a 17 to hit.
That hits.
Oh, perfect. That'll do 9 points of force damage.
Okay.
The spear lingers in the air. That's my turn.
Perfect. So I imagine that maybe your reach did not get as far for this one zombie from this monk, and it is right near Corla, and so it's going to try and lash out at you. So that is going to be 18 to hit for 6 damage.
Wait. So the fell thing hit Corla?
No, this is just a little monk.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is it within 5 feet of me?
Yes, because you're right up with that the fell thing as well, right?
Oh, okay, yeah. Because a sentinel, if a creature within 5 feet of me makes an attack against anything other than me, I can use my reaction to attack it.
Perfect, absolutely.
So as it strikes Corla, I'm just gonna do a badass monk thing, and staff hits the ground, and both feet just planted against this thing. I'm making an unarmed strike against it.
Mm-hmm.
For a 19 to hit.
That hits.
And 9 points of bludgeoning damage.
Awesome. Yeah, you really just kick this thing back. It staggers back, not quite dead, but you see that you definitely hurt it. And that's going to bring us up to Phil.
As with all this chaos going on, spiritual weapons and punches and everything else, Fel, I imagine, she kind of finds herself on the outskirts of this scuffle for a moment, and she sees this, or she saw this thing attacking Corla. She takes a breath and she just plunges into the fray, and she's going to attempt to touch the Fel clone monster thing. God dang it. That is a 10.
That does not hit, unfortunately.
Gotcha. So I imagine she kind of reaches out, and then at the last minute, she just jerks her hand away, just not able to complete the motion. But she is right there within the 5 feet, and that is all.
All right. This thing now with these same tendril claws is going to reach out and try to lash at you, Brother Vitruvius. That is a 16 to hit? No. Yes, 16.
Yep, that hits.
Okay. And I need you to make me a strength saving throw, please.
Ooh. That is a 10.
So, you can see that in addition to taking 17 points of necrotic damage, these tendrils begin to slowly wrap around your legs, and you will become restrained at the end of your next turn, unless you make the saving throw. But they begin to wrap around you.
Okay.
Okay. Corla. No. Sorry, it is your turn, Brother Vitruvius.
Oh, it's my turn?
Yes.
All right. Let's see. So it's starting to entangle me with these tendrils. But I'm not entangled yet.
No. You have to make a saving throw at the end of this.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So I'm going to I can't do that yet. All right, I'm just going to take I'm going to attempt to hit it with my staff, the pointy end. Are we still blessed?
Yes.
Well, that's going to be a 13 on that attack. So I'm going to try one more time. Get rid of that die. Stop using that one. Oh man, that's worse. There was a 2 plus a 4 plus a 6, so another 12 points to attempt to hit. And I really want to hit this thing. Yeah, I'm gonna spend another key point, I think, and flurry of blows.
All right.
Try to hit 2 completely different dice here, and the D4s to go with them. So that is a 2 13s again.
Oh no.
Doesn't matter which dice you use. I'm rolling max or near max on the bless, and I'm rolling 2s, 3s, and 4s on. So I think what's happening here is so I got to make the strength saving throw, right?
Yes.
Or attempt.
Yep.
So let's grab that D4. It's a 14. It's an 18 on the saving throw. Is that a success?
That is, yes.
So I imagine this whole time I'm trying to attack at it, it's not that I'm so much missing as these tendrils are grabbing hold, pulling back and stopping me from making the hit. I try again and again, and then finally I've had enough with it, and I just break free from being entangled at the end of all of my attacks. or at least from being fully entangled.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Corla.
This thing is still in front of me, right? This creature, this fell, this horrific visage.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. I'm going to attack her. Corla is bleeding profusely. She's looking very hurt, but it's like she doesn't care. She is gone and only has like the eyes for this creature, and that is a terrible roll. 11 to hit.
That doesn't hit. I would imagine that it almost in this shadows, this is playing very well to them, and it's almost like Jake was saying that the tendrils around are creating this obscurity and even like blocking off different hits as if they had a mind of their own.
And I also imagine too that the light that just shone the last like just seconds before has kind of thrown her off her game a little bit too, as she still remembers the voice of Everchild in her head, which cannot be true.
Speaking of Everchild.
Zombified monk is still active, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And then there's also the fake fell.
Right.
Everchild will. He's got this this spear held aloft at a distance. It's going to go ahead and skewer, at least to try to, and banish off the strange tentacle magic from the monks. So it's going to be a 25 to hit for 12 points of force damage.
And this is against the zombie monk?
Yep.
Okay. You kill this monk. Or this.
As Everchild offers a silent whisper of relief, seeing this monk no longer live past his need. And then Everchild's going to use his action as he focuses almost a laser focus beam of silver light, and it kind of launches and strikes the fake fell square in the back or in her shoulder as I cast Guiding Bolt upon her. It's going to be an attack roll.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be a 26 to hit.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious. Okay, and this is going to do 12, 17, 20 points of radiant damage. And the next person who attacks Fel will be doing so at advantage, as the light lingers and hovers over various weak spots, perhaps even where the tendons and tendrils form her layers of armor to attack easier.
Perfect. And that'll bring us to Fel.
That guiding bolt was clutch because my initial pre-roll of this would have missed terribly. So I imagine Fel kind of takes a moment, pushing thoughts of the Everchild or these zombie monks, everything that's just happened out of her mind. She concentrates, she looks at this thing, and she just very quietly whispers under her breath, "You piece of fucking shit." And then she reaches out and she's going to hit, I assume, with a 27 on the Shocking Grasp.
This thing.
That's to hit. I haven't rolled any damage. Unless it has like 1 health left, in which case that's fine.
So this thing, so Shocking Grasp is a spell, right?
Yeah, it's a touch spell.
Yeah, so this thing grabs your hand, Fel.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it just screams no as it casts Counterspell.
Oh. Well, tits.
You see the same teal energy also radiating from this Fel as it grasps onto your arm.
Gotcha. Yeah, I imagine she is completely taken aback by that, kind of knocked out of her mounting rage. Yeah, that was damn unexpected.
So it's this thing's turn, and as it grabs onto you, Fel, it's going to try and rake across your body to try and hit you with a 22 to hit.
Yeah, that will hit, and shield will do nothing about that.
Make me a strength saving throw. And you will be taking 12. Oh.
Ah.
You will take 12 points of necrotic damage, and you'll have to make a saving throw at the end of your next turn.
This
Got
is
it.
a new round, right? I started the new round.
No, the monster starts the new round.
So, and it just made an attack.
Yes.
So, I can use my sentinel to attack it.
Absolutely.
It attack Fel.
Absolutely.
All right. Hashtag blessed. Nat 20. I
Nice.
finally used a die I hadn't used yet.
So
this is what I get for leaving all my choke dice out.
I'm not going to make you roll damage because you kill this thing.
So, as it's attacking at Fel, and it counter spells and then lashes out, it turns away from me. And in that moment, the next thing the real Fel sees is the gore-covered point of my pointy staff coming out of this thing's open mouth, where it was screaming as I just stab it right through the back of the head. And I don't pull it out or anything. I'm just going to take it and just jam it right down to the ground before I withdraw my spear. Are there any more of these undead things around?
No, you are out of combat. Everchild very nicely handled all the zombie monks.
I think as soon as Brother Vitruvius downs that creature, Everchild is now within sight of, like, Corla can see Everchild. And it's almost like shock passes over Corla's face. And she runs to you, Everchild. And she, like, grips your arms, like, one on each side. You are here? How are you here? I buried you.
Everchild like looks around you where you are, like sees Fel, and both you, Fel, and you, Corlett. Where's Eli? Is he safe? Where is he?
He is not safe.
What happened?
Fella's going to wordlessly draw, or well, she already had her dagger out. She's going to take the dagger and she's going to kind of kneel down by this thing, and she kind of stares at the ruin of the back of its head for a few moments. She takes a breath, and even though her hands are shaking, she starts to very slowly saw this thing's head off. She's going to take the head because we were tasked with taking the head of these things. She's just staring. She's not even paying attention at this point to anything else.
He is trapped, for lack of a better word. I do not know, but he's in Tapestry, in other room where all these things are coming from.
So then it's true. I think you're alive. And you did good to help them.
Connor, sorry, your mic, you sound like you're in a tunnel.
Yeah, it like comes and goes.
Yeah, sorry.
Is this any better?
Currently.
Okay. Temporarily. Thank you for your help, brother. Everchild with a ghostwise whisper to Brother Vitruvius. It'd probably be a strange feeling, someone whispering as if they're like right behind you. Like your neck would almost like crawl up. The hairs would stand on end.
I don't think Vitruvius would even flinch at it. He's been witness to things far more frightening than this. I don't know who or what all of you are. I don't know what God it is that sent you. But maybe there is hope.
Where is your library?
Yes, I was in the process of taking you there. Unless you want to stop and talk to any more horrific abominations along the way. I do not recommend.
Felt
As
just
I'm sort of cleaning the gore off of my staff and retracting the blade, straightening my robes.
Fel doesn't say anything in response to that. She kind of takes this head, kind of turning it away from her, and she'll like awkwardly bundle it into her bag, and then she'll glance over to you, Everchild, and she smiles a little, though doesn't quite reach her eyes, and she says, "It's good to see you, Everchild. A little weird to see you, but Corla's right. Eli is trapped in the tapestry, and I'm hoping," and she'll look back to Brother Vitruvius, I'm hoping that the monks have done some research, I'm assuming they have, on this tapestry, and maybe there's something that they overlooked that we could use to get him out. There's another one of our companions in there as well. Jean is her name.
Just kind of pacing down this hallway and kind of almost curiously, kind of like peeking at this headless fell corpse. Not giving it too much, not being too close to it at least, but then the ghostwise whisper would respond of, "We must get him out then."
I want to. Hopefully we can.
Let's follow this brother then.
And I will continue to lead them toward the library.
So before we go, those creatures, the monks in particular, did they come out of the chrysalises, or did they come out of something else? Like,
Yeah, they came out of the same thing that was kind of engulfing Brother Vitruvius, like these tendrils that were just wrapping around. They were alive when they were wrapping around Brother Vitruvius, but you saw, based on how they were cracking when these things came out, that they had dried very quickly.
okay, so those ones by the door, the chrysalises by the door, are those, do they look like the same thing?
Yes.
And there's still like a few of them around?
Oh yeah, there's still probably about a dozen more of these left, just scattered around.
What about all those? And she'll point to all those chrysalises.
I mean, I don't think there's anything we can do for them, and they only seem to react when this thing, and she'll glance at the headless corpse quickly before glancing away almost immediately, when this thing screamed, so we might be alright for now. I think our focus should be, now that we have the doppelganger's head, the focus should be trying to get Eli and Jean out.
And not maybe... What if they're not dead in there?
I mean, we could certainly try and open one.
It is... Are you... There are many monks who have been lost to this tapestry. I say that only to tell you that we have tried everything at our disposal and have as yet not succeeded in freeing them. This is a powerful evil that we devote our lives to holding back. But when the full moon comes, it is so much stronger. And it is so much worse. But I have never seen it this bad. Something has changed.
Well, maybe a few new pairs of eyes are what are needed to see if there's any possibility of freeing your lost brethren and our friends. So let's do that now, please.
So, Brother Vitruvius, you lead them to the library, or what is left of the library. As you know, a few years back, there was a great fire that burned most of the books that was held. They actually held information even before the Devil Strahd had come to this land. But after the Wanderer came, there was destruction. But you would know that the monks have been trying to rebuild it as best that they can, writing information that they remember, writing new information. And you do know that there are a few books pertaining to some of the monks who try to understand this tapestry. And so you lead them there, and for the rest of you, as soon as you walk in, you can tell with the destruction, with the blackened stones, the lack of books, just a few scrolls, papers, pieces of parchment bound together. This is the library.
And Fel will look to Brother Vitruvius. Is there a particular shelf or a series of shelves where you all keep your research, your notes, your observations of the tapestry?
Pointing at this singular table that I imagine is arrayed in the center of the rest of the burned out library, I just tap it lightly with the butt of my staff. This is it. This is what remains of the library.
Right. All right. And Fel will just, again, in a weirdly kind of studious move, she'll just sort of like pull a chair over, kind of sit down in the chair, and she'll pick up like the scroll on top. I imagine she has a bit of a 1,000-yard stare sort of going on right now. And as she looks down at this first scroll, I imagine for a moment her eyes cloud with tears, but then she blinks rapidly and then refocuses on what she's doing as she just begins to research basically anything detailing experiments done on the tapestry to try to extract people from its grasp over the years.
What is it you're searching for in particular? My brothers and I have written most of these scrolls and books from memory.
Anything referring to experiments done on the tapestry, specifically with the intent of trying to get people out of it?
We are monks, not dabblers in the mystic arcanum.
So you didn't even seek to understand what you had? That doesn't make any sense.
That's not what I said. You keep putting words in my mouth.
What do you mean?
We do not have time to perform experiments on the tapestry. We have devoted all of our time to keeping it at bay, sparing what little bit we can to write down what we remember of the archives. That has been our duty.
She'll stop for a moment, kind of lay down the scroll, and then she'll look up at you, Brother Vitruvius. Then maybe, if that is your primary point of concern, you should go back to chanting while I look these over.
It is very clear that the time for chanting is long past. And I lean over the table and I start pulling a couple of the tapestries and I slide over a book, one that's bound in black leather, another book that's open, and there's probably still an ink pot, a quill, and a shaker of sand sitting there. This scroll here. First, I point to the black book. This book here is recordings of the terrible visions and dreams that have been recorded for those who come too close to the tapestry. It was through the recording of these dreams that Brother Gregory was able to develop the sleeping draught to stave off those dark nightmares. This scroll here tells of the increased activity during the full moon. This is the recorded names of all who have been absorbed into the tapestry. And at that, I would place that in front of Fel, and I would slide over the ink pot and the quill. I imagine it's kind of on this little tray. Just slide it over. Perhaps you should write the names of your friends, your companions, who have fallen victim.
And I imagine there is this, in this weird echo of her doppelganger, there is this flare of almost bestial anger that whips across Fel's face. She grabs the tray and just flings it against the wall, not even touching the ink or maybe even splattering the ink on the ground. She looks right at you, Brother Vitruvius, and says, "No, I don't think I will. Thank you for your help, though." And then she's going to grab the book that he had provided, as well as the scroll that she was looking at. She's going to get up and she's going to move to, if there's an adjoining room or something like that, she's going to move away as much as she possibly can without going back into shadowy tendril land.
Completely nonplussed. Very well. I'll record their names later. It makes no difference. Please do not remove books from the library. That is the only one of its kind.
And Fel will kind of stop, look over her shoulder at you, Brother Vitruvius, and say, "Then stop me." And then she's going to continue walking.
I turn to Corla and Everchild, and loud enough that Fel can hear as she's storming off. This scroll talks of the mysterious boxes that have been appearing. This tells of our efforts to destroy the tapestry. Explore them at your leisure. I'm available if you have any questions. And I'll begin walking over to pick up the shards of broken ink pot and the quill and the tray and clean up Fel's mess.
Corla will turn to Everchild. How is this possible? How are you here?
Path goes.
I saw you what?
My path.
But you are dead.
It seems fate works in mysterious ways, Corla. For I am not dead.
I'm having hard time believing eyes. How do I know you are not doppelganger too? I mean, we have two Fels, and we had two Elis, and there's two Corlas, and there's two Jeans. How do I know you are not? But you saved us. I must hope. that you are who you are, though I know not why. It's almost like she's muttering to herself as she's staring at you.
And he sees that you are going through a bit of a mental gymnastics, a bit of a mental struggle. And just Evershall just be there, offering a bit of comfort and like quiet and tranquility. That just somehow kind of makes your heart beat less and less and calms you down, despite all the chaos going around.
I am glad you are here. We have lost much since you have been gone. Fel is not herself right now. She has lost Eli. They were much closer now than they were when you were here. And I'm afraid that this might break her. We need to get him back.
That we will. And a little pitter patter over to the table, the desk where the monk is kind of cleaning up all the stuff. Looking over it, Evershaw's like peeking up onto the table to kind of see what's on it, all the different documents and scrolls. But Fel, you stormed out of the room, correct?
Sorry, I was using my touchpad. Yes, if that is possible, so I don't end up, or so she doesn't end up in a place where she is surrounded by shadowy death tendrils.
Yes.
Yeah. Everchild would kind of follow her out, I think, after a little bit.
Imagine in the interim, Fel has found like just again maybe just a simple chair and put it in like a corner of this room, and she's just looking over the scroll and the black dyed leather bound book that Brother Vitruvius had kind of moved towards her. I guess since that's the recording of the recordings of the dreams that people had experienced, she would be looking for any kind of commonalities in the dreams to see if there's like been any sort of like similar maybe symbols or like even like animals, just weird kind of idiosyncrasies that have appeared in multiple dreams instead of just one person's dream. Just looking for any kind of common thread.
Okay. And while you do that, we're going to switch perspectives for a moment. Eli, your eyes are closed. You remember, all you can remember is falling, and then nothing. But then you begin to hear the sound. The sound reverberates through your head, through your body. The sound is coming from right on top of you. Your eyes are closed. You hear voices muffled above you. People are like flocks of birds. When the earth shakes or the wind howls, they startle and squawk. And some are frightened, while others are parrots and echo, who started it? Why? Where does the wind blow from? When will it end? No one decides this. The flock doesn't think. It just listens only to itself. You hear mumbling that you can't understand, and then you hear, "Let us weigh the sins upon sin, fleshy meat, entangled in the cogs of worth." Eli, what do you do?
Right. Well, guess the first thing I'd do is open my eyes.
You see black, darkness. You can barely see anything, though as your vision begins to clear, you can see very, very small slivers of light up into your left and the same up into your right. You can see also very, very, very thin streams of light above you in small little lines.
I would attempt to reach my hand out in front of my face to try to see it.
You immediately smack wood as soon as your arm lifts up.
Thunk. All right, Eli. This isn't the worst place you've been. No. No, it is. This is the worst place you've been. I'm going to start reaching around, feeling along down my sides, see if. At first, I'm feeling to see if there's any kind of. If I can find any of my weapons or anything, and then I realize it's irrelevant. Pretty much all my weapons are strapped to my rucksack. That's actually a wooden chest, and that's clearly not here. For all I know, I'm in my wooden chest. So instead, I'm going to plant my hands as if I'm in a push-up position, and I'm just going to push as hard as I can.
Give me a strength.
Would that be athletics?
Yep.
That is a natural 20, making that a 26.
Nice. So you can feel the wood begin to crack underneath your force, and as you push harder and harder, you hear the hinges begin to groan and break until finally you push through. You hear immediately a scream, gasps, shock, horror, as you slowly see your eyes are assaulted by bright sun beaming down on your eyes, and you see heads begin to poke over this hole that you're in, until you hear someone exclaim, "Father Eli, you're alive!" And that is where we're going to take a break. So we will be back in about 10 minutes, so sit tight, and we will be right back. All right, we're back. Eli, you see these heads peering over, just kind of silhouetted in the sunlight, and one exclaims, "Father Eli, you're alive!"
Do I recognize this person?
It's hard to see them because you're kind of like staring directly into the sun, and they're just like shadowing it. But once your eyes kind of get used to this now very bright light from being in Barovia for so long, you do not recognize this person.
Well, I kind of look around as I stand up. Am I literally standing in an open coffin at the bottom of a grave?
You are, in fact, standing in an open coffin at the bottom of the grave.
Well, I wouldn't go jumping to conclusions just yet. And I guess I'm going to attempt to climb out of this grave.
Immediately, people flock to help you up out of the grave, still kind of shocked and stunned.
Coming up out of there and looking around at everybody, I guess I would sort of dust off my clothes a bit and start looking around at the faces of these people and trying to figure out who they are and where in the heck I am.
They all look at you very earnestly, waiting for some sort of explanation or talking. They look at you almost reverently. And as you look around you, you see that you can feel the heat almost immediately upon you. And you look around and you see that you're in some sort of scrubland, where there's very loose dirt, small shrubs, the sun shines brightly down, and you are in a town, a small town where the buildings are very shantily put together. They obviously do not get much rain.
I immediately look around for tieflings.
You know what? You do see one or two. As well as you see other dwarves. You see mostly humans.
Whoever's nearest me, I'm sorry. I'm a bit disoriented. Where am I?
Father Eli, are you all right? The same woman who exclaimed kind of steps up. She looks to be about middle-aged, graying hair tied back down in a braid.
I'm gonna have to go with no, I'm not all right.
You had quite a stare. You are scared. You were so brave fighting back those bandits. But when they shot you and we saw all that blood, well, the doctor said you were gone.
I immediately look down, sort of look myself over for arrow wounds, crossbow wounds, bullet holes.
And in fact, what you're wearing, you do in fact see holes with bloodstains on them from some sort of wounds that you had gotten. But you don't feel any pain in those areas.
I'd open up my shirt.
You would see absolutely no injuries on your body. And you hear another gasp of of surprise, and you'd hear a "Pray, Shantea."
Somebody help me inside. Is what I say. I don't know if there's an inside anywhere nearby, but I'm 100%. Eli's 100% winging it. I think he's just now at hearing Shantea. It sort of for the first time. He realizes that they've been calling him Father Eli, and in a weird way, that suddenly disorients him a bit more. So yeah, he's just trying to wing it at this point.
Yeah, immediately you have a crowd of people around you helping you, trying, maybe doing a little bit more, being a little bit more in the way, trying to help you and guide you towards somewhere at your behest of yeah.
And I'm just looking around. I'm trying to get my bearings. Is there anything? I mean, does this scrubland, anything look familiar about it?
No. I mean, it's very similar to maybe if you had been in warmer regions before. Like this, it looks like just any other town. Very small town.
Man. I guess I'm gonna scan the crowd as they're kind of swarming around me and trying to help me wherever they're helping me. I'm looking for somebody that looks like they might have authority, either standing apart from the crowd or maybe somebody that's a sort of an elder. Anything, somebody that would look like they'd be in charge.
You look around and yeah, you find that there are a few people who with swords at their hill, like they walk around with armor. They could be in charge. Somebody, this same woman, kind of tugs at your arm. Just, it's all right. We'll get you back to your wife, and she'll fix you up.
Yeah, my wife. Yeah, I'd sure like to see her.
As they take you, the woman continues, oh, she'll be so happy to see that you're alive. She really took some injuries herself, but she's resting up. The doctor thinks she'll make a full recovery. And they lead you, and we're going to switch quickly to Jean. Jean, your eyes are closed as well. You wake up. You too remember this falling, and then nothing. And then your eyes opening to a room. In a bed. The bed isn't very soft, or it is way too hot in here. You feel as though you're burning.
The sweat is palpable, and the humidity just hangs in the air. John careens up from the bed, groaning, wondering what the hell is going on. Why the hell is she so thirsty? Why it's so damn hot in here? Why is she so sore? All these things just kind of like frustrate her a bit. She kind of gets a bearing of her surroundings.
You're in a very modest room, a house, or a very modest room. There's a sitting, there's a wash basin, this very small bed. You find that there are bandages wrapped around your body and arms, though you feel no piercing pain, just kind of a dull ache, but you feel no piercing pain around them. And you see a set of stairs leading down. It appears as though this is some sort of loft.
Jean looks around for any kind of water. She sees that wash basin and just like, I think she'll dip her hands in it and maybe just like splash her face or something just to get rid of this heat. She doesn't dare drink it because who knows, might be a baby in with the bathwater. And that's right, I had to throw that pun in there. And then she kind of stretches her legs and walks and paces around this attic, this loft. Is there any kind of window or any kind of opening?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. There would be a kind of a window on the slanted roof almost that you could look out of.
She'll look out of that to get a sense of where the hell she is.
You see the sun, actual bright sun, leading down, and in front of you, you see there is a pathway with people walking about. Like I had said before, it's kind of like a scrubland type thing, and it looks like a very kind of small, poor town. The houses are put together, and yours seems to be one of the nicest ones. Just from looking, not many of them really reach 2 stories. Many are one rooms. And you see a crowd of people, a small crowd, people talking and walking, and in the middle of them you see Eli.
And Sean's relieved, but also confused by this. But it's just relieved to see a face that she recognizes, and there's like got to be stairs or some kind of like trapdoor to this place.
Absolutely, there's kind of like a ladder.
Yeah, so she'll just like descend with a fervor that she hasn't really experienced before, just to get out of this place, to meet up with Eli.
Do you come rushing out of the door, right outside?
Yeah, I say so.
So, Eli, you are walking, and you see the people are leading you towards a house, and then you see Jean coming out.
Is this where they're leading me?
Yes, it looks to be.
I guess I would call it out. I think I would be surprised to see Sean. Sean,
Where the hell are we?
I think you might be right.
Just wipes off more sweat. Just I don't know. Come inside. I think this is empty, this house. I don't know. I just woke up. My head hurts. Nasty headache. You got any water on you?
I turn to
Just button up your damn shirt.
I turn to the crowd and just thank them. Thank you. You gotta understand, this is This is gonna. I need a minute.
Oh, no, we understand. Your wife must be so happy that you're home now, aren't you, Jean?
I think Eli's
Coughs
head
on her own
whips
spit.
around.
Yeah.
Eli's head whips around and let's see, because I think Eli. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, Eli's not. Oh, okay, that's cool. Eli's not too dumb. He's smart enough to kind of hold it together, I think, a little bit. Yeah, Jean, my darling wife, I'm sure you're excited to see me as I am to see you. And then I will
get inside. Just all of you, just kind of just like she kind of like an expletive kind of just sneaks in there, and she kind of yells at everyone to go away.
And then I will head into the door and into the house, and I have no idea where we are, how we ended up here, and why in the nine hells do they think you and I are married?
I just woke up. I have the pounding headache right now.
Yeah,
Mouth
I
is
just
full of
woke
sand.
up too, and I was in a coffin in the bottom of a grave.
I can't think that wins. That wins.
I'm fairly certain they were burying me, and my still open shirt, I just kind of pull to one side and stick my finger through a couple of the holes. I think they think I was killed by bandits or something.
I look like a damn mummy, just holding up all these bandages.
Well, according to them, you was hurt pretty bad in that bandit attack too.
There's got to be a pump around here somewhere. Sean's looking for a water pump. Anything?
Yeah, it would be. It would probably be outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Finds a bucket, just has to drink some water to satiate this thirst from the hot sun in the midday air.
I'm looking around this place, looking for anything, not necessarily familiar, but anything that might anything that might give an indication of this apparent alternate life that we have.
Absolutely. As soon as you start looking, you see evidence of it everywhere. You see books and so many manuscripts, and you look and you see that your own handwriting, you find a sword and some sort of crest on it that you would assume would belong to Jean. And a signet ring as well. They were similar to the garbs that you saw of the guards, or at least those who you would expect to, or thought to be guards. They were wearing also this crest.
But so all this stuff that seems to belong to us, is there anything, I suspect I already know the answer, but anything that that would give an indication of who we really are, who we know ourselves to be?
Something that you do find, Eli, is the amulet that Fel gave you. You find it resting on one of the shelves, kind of tucked away.
I would grab that immediately. And look it over.
It looks exactly like it had when she gave it to you. And other than that You don't find anything else.
I would wait for Sean to come back in, and I would first sort of point at everything, all the pieces of evidence of our apparent existence, and then I would pull out the silver symbol of Shantea and hold it out to Sean. I found this too. And this was given to me by Phil. It's the only evidence I can find of where we come from.
This is so strange. This is confusing. This is... Do we have a horse? Do we have 2 horses? Just take our stuff and ride out of here. I
Where are we gonna go?
have to...
We don't even know where we
back.
are. I got no idea where we are.
What are we going to do then?
We might have to we might be best to sort of lie low and well, in my experience, sometimes it's best if you find yourself submerged in the river, not to fight against it, just let the current take you.
I can see why Phil didn't like that saying very much. I don't like being here. Don't like it here. Don't like being just dropped off in the middle of nowhere. It's as if this life isn't my own life anymore, or the life that we had that I had wasn't my own life. Is this a dream, or was everything before a dream?
No, I don't think Eli would do that. I pinch myself. I was going to pinch Sean, but I don't think Eli would do that. I'm going to grab a hold of some of the skin and hair on my forearm and just give it a firm twist and see if I can feel that pain.
You do not feel any pain.
I do it again.
Still nothing. Even if you do it in a different spot, it's almost like you're numb.
This actually almost worries me more than anything else. So we're on like this in this sort of small house.
Yeah.
Is there like a kitchen area? Maybe a few pots and pans kind of thing?
Yep, absolutely.
I head over towards the butcher block. I grab a good-looking iron skillet. I look over at Jean. I place my hand down on the surface, and I bring the skillet down on my hand.
I think I can't quite stop you in time before you just kind of crack your own fingers.
Nothing.
I did not feel that.
What do you...
I pinched myself, as you do when you suspect you might be dreaming, and could not feel it.
This water that I've been drinking, is it satisfying? or is it just like
No,
non-existent? No.
not at all. You barely felt it, but I'm sure you were in such a craze you didn't really think about it. But now that you think about it, there wasn't really much that you tasted.
This water is kind of like holding up this bucket. Doesn't quench my thirst.
Well, hell, this is, these are things that are pointing us in a direction, I don't like this. And, I recant my previous statement about letting the river take us where it will. Because I think we need to get the hells out of this river.
So, any horses?
I don't know. Let's head outside.
I'll start packing our things. Well, you go find some horses. It's going to be a long ride at least.
So, Eli, do you go outside?
Yeah.
So you go outside and you look around and you do find that you're on quite a larger property. Large enough, in fact, that it has a small little stable around the side. Yeah, like I said, this is probably the nicest house, or one of the nicest houses in this, from what you can see. And you do see a little stable.
I'm going in there looking for horses or ponies or something.
Yeah, absolutely. You find a couple of horses. As you're walking out, you see the people, and they run by you. Oh, Father Eli, glad you're alive. Oh, nice to see you again. Like, people are just passing by, talking to you, just...
Yeah, ma'am. Alive, yeah. All right.
Can't wait for your next teaching. Like, just these people walking by, and everyone just seems to know you and just say something.
Yeah, I'm just kind of throwing casual greetings out at them as I go looking what's in the stable.
Yeah, and yeah, you find a couple of horses. Just normal horses. Maybe one that's slightly a little smaller.
All right, I immediately, while Sean is inside packing, I'm going to start saddling up, getting these horses ready to ride.
You, Jean, you are kind of packing stuff. You have no idea where anything is, so it takes you a bit to, like...
She's just trying to scramble to find anything of use, like any foodstuffs, any supplies, anything worth, taking on a road trip.
Yeah, you find some food, some supplies, some water skins for, nothing for long haul, obviously, has been packed, but you can find enough for a few days, with overpacking, like a day pack kind of thing. And once you're packed, as you come out, people nod at you. Captain? Ah, nice to see you again, Captain. Glad you're feeling better.
Should we kind of do like the whole, it's like raising the eyebrows? Yep. But no actual vocalizations, just the minimal requirements of human interaction to acknowledge their existence, as she's kind of like gathering things.
And so you've already gathered, and you're outside, and you see that Eli has just about at this point finished tacking the horses, and they're all ready. all saddled up?
This is what I've gathered. Oh, good, we do have horses. Did not want to do it on foot. It's not much, but it'll keep us for the next few days.
Well, we're gonna have to just ride. And ride until we can't ride no more.
All right. Let's just take this horse just down that old country road then.
We probably better take the Old Town Road.
I always get them mixed up.
All right, so you saddle up your horse and you ride out into. It doesn't take long. This town is extremely small, very, very small, and it is get out of town quite quickly. Are you guys heading north, south, east, west?
West. I also roll a die.
Sean's pointing. Hold on. I gotta see where this landed because I rolled a D8, so that would be north, northeast, east. Yeah, you point west and I point south.
Sure.
Southwest it is.
Yeah.
So you start to ride. The sun is hot, and it doesn't take long before the sweat upon your brows begin to form. You feel very uncomfortable with this heat. And you leave this strange town behind you, and ahead is nothing but scrublands and mountains, rocky hills. And as you're riding, a few hours pass, and in the distance, you see something. What looks to be a town. Are you going to go towards it, or?
What do you think?
It's getting late. Perhaps we'll just stop here for the night.
You keep riding up, and you get to the town, and the first person who sees you... Ah, Father Eli. Out for an evening stroll, are we? With the missus. Captain.
Yeah. Just had to get out and clear our heads. And,
Yeah, Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, my sister and her husband do that all the time. Sometimes they're gone for 2 or 3 days, but when they come back, they feel so much better.
Yeah, well, I'd say we feel better. As I glance at Sean.
Jean does not look like she's doing better. In fact, she looks a bit more upset and frustrated and disappointed.
All right, I'll keep riding a little bit. Starting to suspect if this is, but looking around to see if this is in fact if this is in fact the town we just left.
And in fact, after riding a little bit, you recognize what looks to be your own house. Some very familiar landmarks that you had passed by.
What the hell are we gonna do?
can't feel pain, can't drink water, can't leave this place. I'm the captain, you're some priestly father. This is terrifying, Eli. This is just absolutely terrifying.
Maybe we should try to see if we can sleep for the night and see what the morning brings.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess we'll.
So you return back to your house?
Yeah.
I imagine you untack the horses.
Yep.
And you go in. And you attempt to sleep. But sleep does not come. And neither does the setting of the sun after hours. It dips for only slightly down the horizon, but the light never leaves until the sun rises again. And with that, we're going to switch quickly over to Fel. Fel, you're pouring through these accounts of these dreams and visions. Many of them are quite horrific. All of them have to deal with somebody's worst fears. But you probably expected that. That's not the surprising part, however. In all of the dreams that these monks have had, they describe a person cloaked, watching them. Always at a distance, never interacting, never saying anything. And if they try and go to them, they cannot. They get no closer, no farther away. They're always watching. Right in the corner of their peripheral vision. And that is the similarity that you find amongst these horrific recounts of nightmares. Oh, you're muted.
There you go. Thank you. Fel will actually, realizing that in her haste to throw that ink and parchment away that Brother Vitruvius had offered, she does not have any ink and parchment of her own. She kind of like mutters under her breath, she's like, "I was someone watching them," but and then she kind of gets up. I imagine as she starts to kind of head back towards the room where the others were to find some parchment and ink, she probably runs into Everchild, because I think Everchild was heading in that direction anyway. So imagine she kind of like almost like walks into him, and then she stops. Oh, Everchild, what's I think I might have found something about did you say the man was like was he a blind man or just like a hooded figure is what you said?
A hooded figure, yep.
Gotcha. Some sort of hooded figure seems to be watching these trapped individuals from afar. They can't reach him, but he's the only consistent thing that I'm seeing in here, apart from all of these being awful. Good to see you again, by the way. I think I already said that. Is everything all right? Well, that's a stupid question, but hello.
Hello, Phil.
How are you still alive, I guess? Here, can we walk and talk? I need to get some parchment and ink.
Strahd beside you at twice the pace that you do. I would regale you with a long story, but I have none.
So you just, crawled out of the grave by the willow where he buried you?
Every shakes his head. I woke up. And I knew that it was by a pond. by the
Can I
river, flowing
insight check
past
that?
Valaki.
Just cause she's paranoid as shit. That's a 13. Does that seem to be the truth? On by Valaki?
It's hard to tell when a person whisper talks to you.
Fair enough. Very fair. I'm studying your face, but you're not making any mouth sounds.
There's no emotion on his face. Doesn't seem like he has there's no real reason to lie.
Hey man, it's Barovia. Everything is an illusion and a lie. Anyway, but no, she'll nod.
Mhm.
So you woke up by this pond, and did you feel any different? I mean, I don't think I remember you conjuring a magical spear before. Back in the Durst household.
Seems I've grown a bit more in tune with the mystic energies of this place, and of all places.
Is that good?
Well, it saved us a few moments ago, didn't it?
Yes, I suppose it did. Yes. And she'll kind of keep walking. And she'll get to the other room, maybe. And
Oh yeah, very quickly. Yep.
cool.
Long ways, infinite length.
That's where.
It's all a dream.
Corla, what would you be doing in this room? I'm assuming you're still staying in this room.
Yeah, I think after the brief conversation with Everchild, and Everchild left to go see Fel, I think Corla would have just sat on a chair in this room. She's not like book smart and all that, so these watching of papers and stuff is just, that's not her thing, and she's just kind of sitting there processing everything that's happened. Eli, Jean gone, Everchild back, and I think she's just sitting there quietly, just thinking about all this.
Brother Vitruvius, what would you be doing?
I think initially I would have stayed in the library, cleaned up the mess, and then wrote down, from listening to them, I would have written down the names of the two, Eli and Sean, on the appropriate scroll. And I would try to keep fairly close to them, a respectful distance, not to be listening in on them, but more because I know it's best if we all stay near one another.
Absolutely. So you would probably run into them first, as Fel is charging in to get some quill and ink.
So, and she would, seeing the other two in this room, she would just start talking as she moves around, kind of looking around for parchment and ink. So, I did find something interesting. She's kind of like rummaging through the shelves. There's multiple references in this journal that Father Gregory was keeping, this record of the nightmares of a hooded man watching people during the nightmares they had when they were under the influence of this tapestry at night. People couldn't reach him or speak to him, but it's the only common thread that I found. And she'll glance over her shoulder at Brother Vitruvius, almost as if she's just remembering that he's there. Two things. First thing, parchment and ink. Second thing, do you all have any sort of legends or stories about a hooded man that watches from afar? Sounds almost like a death metaphor or something.
So, Vitruvius, you know this. You know that that's a commonality among all of these dreams, and you would know from some of the older monks that this is the Wanderer. This is the one who had given them the tapestry. The cloak is the same. Everything is very similar to what he looked like when he first came in.
Yeah, and I would relay that. Oh, sorry. And I would relay that to Fel. Sorry, I forget which character I was.
Too many
I
characters.
would relay that. The legend of the hooded wanderer is always the same. It never changes.
So why exactly did he bring this to you? Do you know? Is there any record of why he just showed up with a evil tapestry and gave it to all of you, and that was it?
He came to the Order of Saint Andrew and told us that we had to guard the tapestry with our life. He said that he no longer had the ability, the strength, or the willpower to do so himself. It was the Wanderer who taught us the words of the prayers and chants, taught us how to pray.
Could you teach other people these chants?
Yes. So, yeah. Sorry. I want to be helpful, but of course, because so many other people can take on the calling of being a monk, so they have to teach it to them.
Yes, it's knowledge that is easily handed over. Simple recitation. The dedication and constitution it takes is a bit more demanding, but the words themselves are not difficult to learn.
Do you know roughly how many monks chanting it takes to keep the tapestry complacent?
During normal times, we kept as many monks as possible. But during the full moon, it took everyone. All that we had to hold back the powers that would come forth out of the tapestry.
And Fel will glance to Corla and the Everchild and then back to Brother Vitruvius. She kind of sets the nightmare journal down on the table and kind of leans against the table. So here's what I'm thinking. If possible, first of all, there's no door on this place, right? Because the door burst open. Did the door get destroyed, Megan, or did it just get blown open?
It got destroyed.
Right. So, first thing, we need to find some way to block up the door because those tendrils are still out there. Brother Vitruvius, I don't know, are there any people that... I mean, no disrespect to the dead, are there any people that you think might be interested in taking up the mantle of these monks that you could teach these chants to so we can try and keep this thing calm while we do more research?
I fear that time may be past.
So, what? You're just going to let this thing overrun the whole city?
That is not what my intention is, but when everyone else got taken and I was all that was left, you've seen the state of the town of Vallaki.
True.
You've seen what the Baron did when he took over. We had all we could do. If it was not for Father Lucian, the church itself would have been closed. Baron wanted to close the church. Cast out anyone who is not contributing to the happiness. Especially the sick and the orphan children.
And at that, Fel's eyes will actually widen and just say, "Oh, shite, where are the children? Did you see what happened to them? Or Father Lucian, for that matter."
You see just my head droop. I don't know where any of them are. Since you freed me from the tendrils, I was in prayer and chanting, giving all of my concentration with the other monks to hold it back. It wasn't until you showed up and freed me that I even knew what had happened, the extent to which it had taken over. This happened once before.
Did it? What happened?
All of Vallaki was nearly destroyed.
And what did you all do to stop that from happening?
This was before my time.
Is there a record of it somewhere?
And I imagine I would still have some of the ash from the burned library on my clothing, and I just sort of go like this, pat my robes, and there's this billow of charcoal dust, and I just sort of make a motion like I'm grabbing it and go, this is all that remains of it.
Well, that's fucking frustrating. Ifel kind of looks around the library for a moment, and then she'll pull up a chair kind of right beside Corla. So look, we do need to find some way to barricade the door. I know we don't have any more monks to keep this tapestry quiet, but I do think we need to do that also just to keep out curious onlookers. Second thing is, anything that you all have on this this hooded man, this wanderer, any sort of records about him, any sort of documentation about your interactions with him, maybe we can learn something from those. We have to figure this out. You understand that, right? We have to figure this out.
I understand and appreciate your passion to want to delve into research and solve this problem, but I don't know how many times I can show you the ashes that are the remnants of our library. I have told you what I know. I have shown you what we have available.
Gonna insight check that as well, because paranoia is a terrible drug, kids. That is another 13.
I mean,
Yeah.
Basically, just to see if he's lying about if he has any additional information.
In this case, I think it's up to him. Because my understanding is that I'm telling the truth.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, me, the player.
You know, yeah.
So then, he
Cool.
seems earnest
Okay.
in his belief.
All right. So, well, then maybe what we need to do is we need to go out into the main part of the church and see if we can get some more of those cocoons open and see if we can save any other people. I know you said you believe they are dead, but we don't know for sure. And maybe Father Lucian isn't one of them. Maybe some of the children are still alive. It's worth looking.
Yeah, you guys haven't been into the area of the orphanage because it is kind of apart from the church. Like, it does connect, but it's kind of like a little separate building.
So I think we barricade the door, we try to open some of these cocoons, and then I will continue. And she kind of looks a bit forlornly at the small amount of written material on this table. I will continue looking through this to see if I can find anything else about the Wanderer. Any references, maybe something that you missed.
Good luck with that. I wrote half of what's there.
Well, people forget things all the time. Anyway, Corla, you're being awfully quiet. What do you think? Not that that's unusual, but even more quiet than usual.
I need to do something.
I am literally suggesting that we do something right now.
I imagine there's got to be sanctuary or somewhere where we might have pews that we could use the wood from.
Mm-hmm.
Like the main chamber of the church, maybe.
Yep.
Yeah, to create, and I would say that we could probably use that to create a barricade. You look like you need something to do with your hands.
I do. You barricade the door and I'm going to see if I can rescue those peoples.
I'll help you with that, Corla. Everchild, did you want to actually? You probably want to be on cocoon duty just in case any of these people are hurt, which I imagine they will be. If that's all right.
Everchild gives a nod.
I love how you're like, we need to barricade this door. I need to do something. Here, I got something for you to do. Help me barricade the door. And you guys are all like, nah, you do that.
It's called delegation. Fel's a noble. She doesn't do that.
It's a good thing Vitruvius is a trained monk and just goes about it whether or not you're helping.
It's a hard time for this group, okay? There's been a lot of terrible things that have happened. But yeah, I imagine Fel and Corla and the Everchild will start trying to open these remaining cocoons while Vitruvius does his thing.
And Corla
Great
looks
character,
at those pews and is like, there's no way she can actually lift anything. So she's like, no, I'm good.
Well, it's better than you than the Bright Child.
The Bright Child. Ever sad?
Ever sad. So
Everchild has an ability that might help him here in cocoon hunting. He has the ability Eyes of the Grave, and he can see undead within 60 feet of him as we walk. And so this, I think that how this would manifest, like he saw what the cocoons would did to these monks. He'd know if any were too far gone, I think. So we don't even bother rescuing the ones that are too far gone.
yeah,
Is what I would like to do.
I can imagine that you walk and your eyes kind of flash and you see what is in there, and you find that I'm just gonna kind of fast as you're looking through the cocoons. You see that they are either too far gone or are in fact dead. However, you do not find Father Lucian amongst these people, these monks that are cocooned.
So I guess if that is the case, Fel would sort of stop for a moment and then glance over at Vitruvius. I'm not especially strong. I know Corla is very fast, but I don't know if she is especially strong either. Do you want some help? Because otherwise, I think we should head into the orphanage and see if we can check on the children and whoever else might be in there.
The hands make light work.
I will take that as a yes. And so she will walk over and do what she can to help with the barricade, just to make sure it's as thorough as possible.
I imagine that Corla, Fel, and Everchild. It takes
one pew.
all three of them to do one.
And it's Everchild doing most of the lifting.
It takes some time, but you're able to barricade the door to the best of your abilities. And you think it's going to be a fairly sturdy hold.
Great, good job, everybody. Let's see if we can get into the orphanage.
As you pass by Fel, you hear a whisper coming from the direction of the tapestry. The voice of Eli, begging for your help, begging for anyone to come to help, to save him. It's just this croaking sound.
And she would stop walking, kind of going rigid for a moment, and then very quietly under her breath in Dwarvish, she would say, I'm trying, I'm trying. And then she'll kind of grit her teeth and force herself forward, though she is walking visibly slower and in much more shaky fashion than she was before. And she tries to ignore it to the best of her ability.
And as you find as you go to the door of the orphanage and you try to open it, you find that it is locked. And that is where we are going to end our session.
What?
Ooh.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for watching, and thank you to my awesome players. That was great. As you can see, we have made some decisions, and we have some more characters coming in, being played by. we have some players doing double duty, double character duty today, and for a bit yet.
Duty.
We had agreed that this plot point of having Eli and John inside the Tapestry would be a little bit would be important, and so deserved kind of a longer run, and just so that everyone kind of had a part to play and could be participating at all times. We thought that we'd bring in some more characters for them to play. So hopefully that makes sense. And thank you again to my awesome players. They are so great. And yeah, stay safe, everyone. Wash your hands. And we will see you on the 14th. Have a good night, everyone.